Previously on DrakeParagon.
There's this big cloud system just sitting right in front of us.
We should do the oil change now.
Look like a big nasty bad weather cloud.
Are you taking more of the patch than you're supposed to? You better get some wind soon.
Sweet, so we finally have the sails up now.
Whoa! It's like some 35 knot winds over here. That's pretty close to where we are.
Camera. Wow, that's the same one. That's the one that buzzed us before. Yeah. Whoa. That's so weird. He's checking us out. It's the same plane that, remember when the one flew right by us that time?
It's got to be some sort of like surveillance plane, I think.
I think you're right.
A beautiful day.
Oh, you couldn't ask for a better one.
It feels so nice to not be motoring again. It's so bizarre to me that these birds are living out here hundreds of miles away from land. Just like living out in the water. I didn't think birds actually lived on the sea, like all the time, 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Normally in like April and May and stuff, they'd be coming out getting loads of feed and then going back to the nests.
Right.
But now, I don't know, are they just staying out by themselves or are they just the young ones or what? But they seem content enough and they're keeping me company, so... There you go.
See if the staysail makes a little difference.
Well, I don't know what that noise is, but there's a bit of a hum. You hear it?
The prop shock.
Is it the hum?
Yeah, the propeller spins on this transmission. Always.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do to lock it.
No, I mean, I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
On Eric Forsyth's boat, he had a little alternator hooked up to his prop shaft so that when it would spin, it would generate electricity.
That's clever.
Yeah. Jesus.
He was just sitting up there where the wind vanes used to be. He was sitting there.
Really?
He landed.
And chirping up a storm.
Chirping up a storm, exactly. We're on the right direction still. I haven't adjusted course.
Yeah, just not much wind. 10 knots is not enough to make this boat go much faster. What's our speed over ground?
3.7, 3.5. Yeah, it's moving up onto the nose.
Oh yeah.
I could shift this a little bit to starboard.
What's our speed?
Our speed is between 3.5 to 4 knots.
Over ground.
Over ground. When we go up onto our course, our actual course, the run line,
Yep.
that goes to 3.5 knots, and then sometimes it goes a little bit further and we get the odd flap in the sails like that.
Yeah.
But then we come off by 10-15 degrees and then we get up closer to 4 knots.
It's only half a knot difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we can either stay on the run line at 3.5
With the odd flap of the sails.
or
we can-
bear 15 degrees off and go 4.
Well, that's, I think the boat's doing it that itself anyway. Like it's getting the wind getting pushed in, and then the autopilot is correct when you bring it back up, and then if you know
What's
what I mean.
our? You see our track over ground on the chart plotter?
Yeah,
Are we on the run line? Is there track on the run line?
it's not on the run line. No, it's over.
You think if you bared off and went faster, that track would be more off the run line than it is right now?
Mm-hmm. Because we're off the run line anyway. Basically, we've gone east.
We're on the line.
This line. Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought you meant that line.
The line that behind us
Mm-hmm.
is it's pretty much on the
Yeah.
run line or parallel to it.
Yeah.
The actual direction that this is pointing in,
Is,
it varies so much, but after all is accounted for,
That's the track is
the
what
track
we're
is
looking
what
at.
matters.
Shut the fuck up.
You will? Monique? It's your watch, right?
Hi there. How are you? You got 15 minutes. We're sailing. Do you want a bowl of cereal? Want a cup of hot cocoa or something?
I'm gonna get some water, but thank you.
There you go.
How is your watch?
That's good. Just got a bit lightweight. Wait. Lovely watch. When I finally actually had my right one. Yeah. The wind picked up a little bit. I got up to about 12 knots. Which are just under 4 knots. So it's like 3.5 to 4 knots. But sometimes when we point up into the wind, like we start going, like our sails start flapping. As soon as it goes anywhere near the nose, it drops down to 2.5 knots. So it's doing that, and then it kills on our speed. It dropped down to like 2.5 knots. So I don't know if you want me to send it more to starboard, get more speed. Because if we're doing 2.5 knots, it's a bit crap.
We better off a little, but then we're not on the line. We're already off a little.
We're not on the run line anymore?
Well, we're mostly there, with a little bit of a leaning towards starboard. Their tractor's good.
Track's on the run line?
Pretty much.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it? I mean, that
We
we're...
won't be on the run line if I take us to starboard.
Yes, but we may go faster.
That's right.
So what do you think is better, staying on the run line slower or getting off the run line faster?
Getting off the run line faster.
I think you're right.
Like, if we stay where we are, then we should put the motor on the engine. If we don't want to do that, we should bear off in little speed. I think. I don't know. What do you think?
That's a good idea, Mo. I'll try 5 degrees, will I?
That sounds lovely.
And wait. And the magic will happen. You can feel the power filling the sails. Look, it's going up.
But,
We're going faster.
oh my god.
We're totally still on the run line.
Like, totally.
Like, totally, man.
I'm gonna go through.
Dude.
I can't believe that these birds are out here.
Believe it.
They're so friendly. They've been getting closer to the boat. It's like flying like right beside the shrouds at some point.
They're probably like the least you can do is throw some bread. We've been following you for like 200 miles. They fly up to the bow, they land in the water, and they they fly up.
Actually, is every square mile for hundreds of miles covered with birds, or is it just where we are because they're following us?
The tree falls in the woods. I was just thinking. I know it's around. Is there still a seagull on it? I don't know. I think they're kind of attracted to us.
Yeah.
Yes, they said that you were very hot.
They just come hang out and keep us company. They're pretty curious as well, wondering what we are.
They're probably pissed because we don't have like fish nets all about this stern.
Because we're kind of in fishing grounds at the moment. What a day.
So no icebergs, no ships.
Just seagull.
Speed over ground is actually about 3 knots.
Yeah.
2.8 to 3 over ground.
That sucks.
But I'm just so happy we're going in the right direction. That counts for a lot.
So it's 4 o'clock ship's time, and we're sailing along nicely. We're heading northeast, and heading of about 50 degrees. We're heading a little bit further east than we'd probably ideally like, but we've got the wind, and we're doing 4.5 to 5 knots, so we're on the right track. We're at like 52.6 degrees north, so we're ages away from Cape Farvel. So what we're going to do is, I would say, ride this wind for as long as we can. Sun goes down, we'll throw in a reef, and then we may need to put in a tack to bring us back on course. Try and pick up a weather forecast if we can at some point. The birds have kind of left us alone a little bit. There's not as many of them. Drake and Mo are just asleep at the moment too, so it's just me on watch. And I'm enjoying the trip so far. Just been reading books and chilling out, enjoying the sounds of the sea. I'm checking out the Greenland cruising guide as well for where we can get food and supplies, and we've plenty of stuff on board, but it'd be nice to be able to stock up on milk or other things like that when we get there. Ice, I hope, won't be a problem. We've been looking at the guides and they say it can be difficult getting into Pamute, which is where we're going, and try and time it so that we get to within landfall within a day away, so that we reach the kind of ice limit during the day, so we can navigate through the ice if there is any, which there will be ice, but whether we can get in or not is another thing. It'll probably be drift ice, which is the ice that's formed on land but has broken away and it's just drifting along the sea, as opposed to fast ice, which is actually ice that's attached to land. So yeah, we've had to learn a lot about ice before we come up here. This is great. We're heading off to the middle of nowhere with a couple of books, a wood burning stove, so we're all set. I've been thinking about getting back to Ireland a good bit too. What I'm going to do, who I'm going to talk to. It's good. You think about this stuff when you're at sea. So you tried sleeping in the aft cabin?
Yeah.
How did it go?
Not so great. When I first got in the boat, it was set up differently. There was a berth on the starboard side, a single berth with lee cloths, and a berth on the port side with a lee cloth. So team people could have their separate berths back there. I took the lee cloths out and I put a platform across and then put in a gigantic queen-size mattress, which you have to sleep athwartships on, with your head on starboard and your feet on port. It works fine in port, but at sea when the boat's heeling, your head's hitting the hull, or if your feet are on the leeward side, then you end up crunched up down in a little ball. It's nice for a port, it's not so great at sea. We've just got these 2 settee berths, especially in the rough weather. Maybe in lighter stuff I can manage back there, but in rough seas, and I don't think it'd be possible. I thought I'd check for the next weather report too. There's a wind wave forecast, a 48-hour wind wave forecast, 2005 on WFX Boss. 2005 should be coming through right now. Valid 12 o'clock UTC, July 11th. Today is July 9th. This is the wind and wave forecast for 12 o'clock UTC in a couple of days from now. I'm just gonna mute the sound. It's coming in very clear, look at that. That's the best reception we've ever received. It's like some 35 knot winds over here. That's pretty close to where we are. Right now we're at 5265 north, 5152, so right about there. And 50.1 west, right about right there where the cursor is at this very moment. And
Wiggle the cursor?
right here, you see that right there?
Oh, I see it there.
We're right there. We're out clear of the iceberg field. The projection was Tuesday we'd be here, and that will be true. Shit, that'll put us right there. So, according to this weather fax, at the time of this fax, and with our current course and speed, we project we'll be right here by the time this is actually happening. All around us it's winds generally with a southerly component, so even though it potentially might be really strong, it doesn't really freak me out because we'll be going downwind.
And that is the strongest one that we've seen there.
Yeah. Wind from any direction with a southerly component will be fine for us. Southeast, southwest, south. As long as it's got some south in it, we'll be able to ride it even if it gets strong, I think.
That's great. That's pushing us up towards Bermuda.
It's hard for me to tell looking at this exactly where it'll be from. I mean, could be due south, could be southeast, could be southwest.
Yeah.
It's like all over the place as far as direction, but they've all got a southerly component in it. Ooh, interesting thing to receive would be at 2015, we'll get the 48-hour wave period forecast. Should be coming in right now. This is the clearest reception I've ever seen of weather facts. Like, I've received weather facts in Newport and Boston, Gloucester, but I've never seen one this sharp. It's like crystal clear, sharp compared to anything I've received before, and I guess that's because we're just way out in the middle of the ocean. There's nothing to interfere. Just the wave direction for where we think we'll be at around this time in 2 days from now, when this is valid. Arrows show direction of dominant waves. So we'll have wind and waves pushing us to commute. It's nice to know. This stuff is great when you look at the weather report and it's in your favor. But when you see that it's going to be against you, it's really good to know and to expect it. Have a plan. Have you seen anything out there at all?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. The waves started slowing us down, then the wind picked up by about a knot or two, and then we were just able to punch through the waves, no problem. We got down to about 2.5 knots for about 10 minutes, and then it went up to 3, and then sat there for a little longer, and then boom, back up to 5. Because I think we're so close all that the waves are just going to push us.
Yeah, we gotta get back to the west. So yeah, I thought this would be an interesting recipe to show you guys because it doesn't really require refrigeration. We call it Miso Mackerel. I've got some white rice cooking, and in here I've got a sauce made up of miso paste, sugar, water, and sake, into which I am going to put a can of mackerel. Actually, 2 cans for the 3 of us, I think. You want to cut the mackerel slices in half. I got this recipe from a Japanese cookbook that was calling for fresh mackerel. But then I thought I'd try to make it with canned mackerel, and I thought it came out pretty darn good too. A can of mackerel is like a couple of bucks. So it's kind of an economical meal as well.
Is that mackerel in brine or mackerel in oil?
Mackerel in brine.
Great.
What is brine?
I think it's like salty water.
Salty water.
And are they boned?
There are bones, but I think
They're very small.
they're very small, and because it's been in a can, something has happened to the bone, you can eat them. But if you're using fresh, then definitely be more careful with the bones. So there we've got our mackerel pieces all cut in half. After you get them in the sauce and you've got the heat on, then you put ginger all over what you've got in there. These are slices of fresh cut ginger.
Would powder work?
I have used powder before when we didn't have fresh ginger, and yeah, it worked fine. But of course fresh is better. A tip on stowing fresh ginger, you know, a lot of people don't know that you can just freeze it. It freezes really well. Just put the ginger in a bag, put it in the freezer. When you take it out, it's in the frozen state. You don't really need to peel it, you just cut it. You know, like if it's fresh, you might want to peel it, but after it's become frozen, then I don't find it necessary to peel it. Just chop it up with the skin. So there we've got canned mackerel with water, sake, sugar, miso paste, and slices of fresh ginger. And scallions. What I'm doing here on our 10-day to 2-week-long voyage to Greenland is making sure we go through the produce that spoils fastest first. The celery and scallions, they go pretty fast, but peppers, green peppers, and red peppers, they last much longer. So we're making the recipes that call for the scallions and the celery first. So you just kind of let that cook, or rather just heat up. The sauce gets into the mackerel slices, and when everything's nice and hot and you're getting ready to serve, then you throw in a whole bunch of scallions. Serve that up with a bowl of white rice, and it's a pretty good dinner and very easy to make. It doesn't require like a freezer for frozen meats. Ginger and scallions are the only fresh ingredients here, and they'll last for a little while, you know, without refrigeration. But if you've got any kind of refrigeration going, then they'll last for a good long time. So here we've got 3 things of rice.
That looks delicious.
I hope it's okay.
It's good to be eating all this fish. It's good for the brains.
Do you like mackerel?
I love mackerel. It's the only fish I used to catch in Kinsale.
Really?
Yeah, I need it.
You can catch mackerel in Kinsale?
Yeah, you can. Some people catch it off the bridge.
Really?
Yeah, no, they don't have boats.
I
learned-
can go to a bridge and catch mackerel
If you've got a rod, yeah.
in Kinsale?
Yeah, man.
I want to go. Okay, Mo.
Wicked savage.
Come on out. Time to eat. Here you go.
Wow. Delicious.
Simple. So the absolute closest point of land is 338 nautical miles away. I guess we'll have to motor after dinner if it doesn't pick up.
It's just on the verge of being enough wind.
Yep.
But when we're doing just under 3 knots, we
Mm.
need to start going faster. Otherwise, it's going to be like a 15 or 16 day trip.
Well, if we knew the weather was going to stay like this, 15 days isn't that unappealing. But not knowing what's going to happen with weather makes me want to get there faster.
Because we have that good weather. Well, we have the wind, a good bit of wind coming from the south in 2 days.
Yeah.
Which will give us a boost and push us up there. We might get over 120 miles done that day.
Yeah.
Really cool. We just fly up there.
Hey. How are you, Mo?
I'm well. Thank you.
Your favorite.
I can see why. It's really tasty.
It's good, eh? You like it?
I love it. I was a bit dubious of the bones at first. I
don't
got
be.
used to them. Just that crunching down.
If you don't have any fresh ginger, you can also use powdered ginger. And if you don't have any scallions, you can use onions.
You can use sherry instead of sake.
Oh, that's right, and you can use sherry instead of sake. Can you tell we've had this meal more than a few times in the past?
I see our escorts have not left us.
No, they're just 300 miles away from land, surrounded by birds. What are they doing out here 300 miles away from land?